Hold on.
Okay.
Am I back? Okay.
Okay. So we're recording. So let me just introduce us. I'm Jennifer Rose, and this is my oldest and bestest friend, Susan.
Ooh.
And we've come on today to impart our infinite wisdom. And I had a question. This was a real question from a real colleague of mine. Real. She'd be real. She is in her early 20s, and she asked this question. I thought it was a great question. She was asking it of all the women that she knew that were older and who's seen some things and who have been through some stuff. And the question is, and so I'm going to ask, we're going to talk about the question. I'm going to tell a story, and then you're going to tell me you're just going to brain dump. The question is, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? Knowing what you know today, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? So this is a young woman. So I was like, wow, that's a great question. So a lot of people were like, wear sunscreen. Wear sunscreen all over. Not just your face, but your neck and your hands.
Yes.
Wear sunscreen.
Yes.
But I started thinking about it, and I started thinking about when I was in my 20s. And the thing that surprised me the most when I got out of college and I got into what I thought was the real world, I got out there and I thought I was like with adults, because I was like, wow, I'm out of college. I think I was like 23. I'm out of college. I'm in the adult world. And I was like looking at all these people, and I was like, why is everyone acting so childish?
They're still kids.
Exactly. So what I would tell my 20-year-old self is, don't expect everyone to be an adult, because people, even though they're in grown-up bodies, people still act childish. Okay, so that's what I would tell myself. Don't expect people to act adult or grown-up, because they're not really. So that's what I would tell my 20-year-old self. Also, I remember being about 25 and still feeling this not really knowing who I am or where I am, what my place is in the world. And
I still have that.
what do boys like me? Am I likable? Am I attractive? Like all this internal angst. And I asked this woman, she was 30 plus. I think she was like 32. And I asked her, I was just like, I can't figure it out. I'm like 25-ish, and I still feel all that internal conflict, internal identity issues. Like, I don't know who I am, and I'm 25. Like, does it get easier? That's exactly what I asked her. I'm like, does it get easier? And she said, let me tell you, when you are 30, it gets easier. And I was like, oh, 30. Okay, so I clung on to that 30 all the rest of my 20s. That was my life saver. That was the only thing. I was just like, when I hit 30, it's going to get easier. When I hit 30, it's going to get easier. When I hit 30, it's going to get easier. It was like a mantra. And when I hit 30, I was like, I'm there. No, and it got easier. All that 20-year-old angst, that who am I in the world, a lot of that angst was dissipated. But
what if she had told you it'll get easier when you're 27? Was it just that mindset of oh, it's just going to be easier when I'm 30, and that was your number, and so then you made it easier at that number? But it could have been before that. It's self-actualization.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can back it up. 20-year-old self, I'm talking to my 20-year-old self, you can back it up, baby. It's going to get easier when you're 26 or 25 and a half. Totally. So as we're speaking to my colleague, I'm going to have a phone conference with her later. She and I want to talk about this with her. So when I speak to her, I'm just like, hey, I can tell her, look, you and I, we've already done it. It can start earlier for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those are my two stories. Those are the biggest things that I would tell myself. And then there's like this whole passion thing that I want to tease out, but I want to hear you first. So mine would be, well, wear sunscreen.
Wear sunscreen. A good one.
Don't expect people to be adults, even if
Yeah.
they're 50, 60, 70, 80. Most people act childish. And it does get easier. It does get easier. So
it does.
okay, so that's my thing. And now I'm just asking you, Suze, you have the floor.
Okay.
What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Well, okay. So when you posed that question originally, what popped into my head, the first thing that popped into my head, and then several things after that as you told your stories. And so that everybody knows, Jennifer and I have known each other since we were 8. So long time. We're like a couple years, it'll be 50 years. So we know each other pretty well. We know each other pretty well. But the first thing that popped into my head, and this is because I have a 19-year-old, soon to be 19-year-old daughter, that I see a lot of the same things that I did when I was her age, but there was really nobody there paying attention enough to tell me, give me some advice. Yeah. So my advice to her is, don't be in such a damn hurry. Don't be in such a damn hurry.
Yeah.
Take your time. Take your time. And that begs the question of then being able to be patient. So I didn't have either of those qualities when I was 19. And Jennifer, your stories, I think that you were very self-introspective early on, as you have proven to be your entire life, and just always reaching and learning and growing. And you are my guide in that journey, for sure. And she's good, folks. She's good. So when you told the story about people being younger, like acting like children, I definitely, no matter how old they are, I definitely have that to agree with, because I'm always surprised. You think, oh, I see this older lady, I see this older gentleman, I'm going to treat them with respect because that's how I was raised, and they probably know more than me. But here's the deal. If you take 100 people, whether they're 20 or they're 80, 70 of them are going to be great, and you'll like them and get along with them. 20 of them are going to be just meh, take them or leave them. And 10 of them are going to be assholes. and they've always been that way. Yeah. And that's just the way it is. And sometimes people, you don't get along with everybody. That's the other thing that would be my lesson. Like, not everybody has to like you, and you don't have to like everybody. Because I spent a lot of time, and I still do, still working on that, worrying about whether people like me and whether I am doing right by them. Yeah. But I've gotten a pretty far distance from that just in the past 4 years. So so don't be in such a damn hurry, and don't worry so much about what people think. But some of that just comes with time. And that's the other thing, is that when I'm waiting for changes to happen in myself, like working on them subtly and trying to put in good practice, like Jennifer said, when she hit 30, it just kind of happened. Just put that out there. Put it out there, and then just kind of work towards it as you can, and it'll happen. You just have to be patient.
It does happen.
Yeah.
So that's great. Thank you so much. That was really, I think that's great advice for not only our 20-year-olds and your daughter, but also our 20-year-old self.
And the last thing that I would say also, and I see this in my daughter also, and in myself when I was that age, trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. If the little hairs on the back of your neck go up when you meet somebody, trust those instincts.
Oh.
If your heart and mind are telling you, then just
Yes.
wait. Just trust that instinct, because
Yes.
your body knows, your mind knows, your psyche knows.
Yes. If it feels yucky,
Yeah.
it is.
It is yucky. Even if it isn't to everyone, if it is to you, it's yucky.
And it doesn't mean anything about them. Don't tell yourself a story about them or yourself that you have to try harder to make it different. It's just yucky, and that's it. That's it. Drop it, and as I was,
move on.
Thank you, or run away.
Can I do one last thing?
Of course,
of course, because
of course,
it's very current right now, and this is my current passion. I'm a librarian.
Yes.
But this is my shirt. When we all vote.
Oh, okay.
When we all vote. Vote. If you want your voice to be heard, that is your mechanism. So vote.
Yes. And even if you feel like my vote doesn't matter, just do it anyways, because just the action of...
That's a fallacy. If everybody votes, everybody's vote matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And just taking that action empowers yourself and communicates with your mind, your consciousness, that I'm empowered. I'm not a victim.
Yes.
Because I think that idea of like my vote doesn't count is sort of just like a malaise, a sort of victim. What I do doesn't matter.
It's a cop-out. To me, it's a cop-out.
What you do matters.
Yes. Yes.
And if there's anything that this Corona season is teaching me, is that I'm connected to everyone. What I do matters to the world around me, to the community around me. Okay, one more thing I want to talk about is I was writing your daughter her graduation card.
Aww.
Which, by the way, I bought at Publix, this awesome card. I bought at Publix, or at least I think I bought it. I couldn't find it. Couldn't find it. So I went into my, I have this file of all these cards that I want to upcycle and like mash together and do collages.
Right.
I found the card, exact card, and I just sort of upcycled it. But anyways, what I put in the card was, I was like, don't worry about your passion, because that word is so loaded. Passion. I gotta find my passion. There's like so much anxiety around your passion. Like, who the hell knows what their passions are? But one thing I put in the card, I said, my darling, don't follow your passion. That's a trap. Follow your interests. Your interests whisper quietly in your ear. Your interests are just sort of like, oh, maybe I'll look at this. Maybe I'll look at that. Maybe I'll look at this. And it's this trail that leads you to what sparks great interest. And to me, that feels more doable than this heavy, find your passion.
Well, very good point. Very good point. Because I think a lot of times, especially today in today's world, young people they're pushed so early. I see it in middle school. In middle school, they're already saying they want them to kind of choose. Well, do you think you're going to want to do this? Do you think you're going to want to do that? Trust the process. And I am queen of Jane of all trades, master of none. Of none. I've done it all. I've done it all.
Like what, Susan?
I've been a zookeeper. I've been a landscaper. I've worked temp jobs. I've worked as an archaeologist. I've worked as a librarian. I've worked as a teacher. I've worked irrigation. I mowed grass. You name it.
You're a marathonist. You raised 2 kids.
I'm a mom. Yeah.
You're in a marriage. You know how to, you boat. You're a captain now. Oh my God, you're a sailing captain.
I can charter a boat up to 50 feet. I'm a 3rd degree black belt. I did that. I've done a lot. So trust the process of finding all these different interests, and if they wane after a while, it's okay.
Let them go. Just let them go.
It's part of becoming who you are. You don't have, but some people at the same time, my daughter has friends that they know, like they've known since they were 8 years old. I want to be a molecular biologist and that's what I'm going to do. Great. Great
Yeah.
if you know that and you have that focus, but don't worry if you don't. Just
Yeah.
don't worry if you don't.
You and I were never like that, right? The only thing I ever knew was that I wanted to be a boss of
Yeah.
someone or something.
Yeah.
That's really.
Yep, did. She told me she was going to be my boss and I was going to work for her in this building in Tampa. And I'm sure, whatever, as long as you pay me all right.
So this is a great conversation, Suze. I really appreciate you just getting on with me. You know, we are women. Suze and I are women of a certain age. We're the juicy crones. We are.
I'm still waiting to come up with like the perfect like logo for Juicy Crone. It invites. The words just invite such a great visual. So
yeah, so we're here for you, darling women who are in your 20s or 30s or 40s, whatever. We're here for you. So does that seem like enough, Suze?
Yeah.
All right, let me just stop the recording.
Bye.
Hold on. You hold on.